Let's talk to Michael Fabricant, former Conservative MP. He's quoted in a couple of stories around today about the Tories in a WhatsApp war over how to tackle that threat from Reform. Mr Fabricant, very good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, very well indeed. Good to see you. What's going on? I mean, the Tories seem to be obsessed with this pact with Reform. And I said to Matt Vickers there, you know, Kemi Badenoch's given an interview to the Telegraph talking about it, but Reform have said, we don't want a pact with the Tories, so why is it still an issue?
Well, we weren't at war. It was a fairly light discussion we were having in WhatsApp. But, you know, prior to 2010, you had all the parties saying quite rightly, you know, we're in this general election to win it. And there was no question of any pact. But, of course, when there was the general election, you know, no government, no party had an overall majority. And the Conservatives went into coalition with the Lib Dems, which, I mean, was quite unimaginable before 2010. And, of course, Nigel Farage is saying, you know, we don't plan to have a pact with the Tories or anybody else. And, of course, Kemi Badenoch, quite rightly, is saying, no, it's for the birds. But all I was saying, actually, was, you know, it's the electorate who will decide. And if no party has overall control, I'd rather have a pact with somebody than have another Labour government.
Well, God save us. I don't think we can last this one out. I mean, people talking about Margaret Thatcher this morning because it's 50 years since she became the leader of the Tory party. And she came in at a time when Labour was destroying the economy back in the 70s. I remember it well, sadly. But we sort of managed
it's all being repeated, by the way.
Well, it is. I mean, I'm wondering which figure is going to be the new Margaret Thatcher to take us out of this terrible place that we're being drawn into.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, yesterday, Mike, you had all these 1,500, was it, tractors in the centre of London. I saw them, and we know what they were protesting about. But the interesting thing is, it was originally brought in by Labour, this tax, under Harold Wilson back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Thatcher then stopped the tax. And when Labour got in again with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, they did actually look at the tax, but decided, no, we're not going to introduce it. And why? Because they knew it would be damaging to farming. And it's great. You've got a fantastic picture there for those who are watching this on TV of all those tractors in Whitehall.
Yeah.
And, so Tony Blair decided, you know, this left-wing policy would damage agriculture in the UK. We're not going to have it. It is extraordinary that Reeves, who is the most incompetent Chancellor we've ever had, and boring Keir Starmer, have now gone back to having this tax again, which didn't work back in the 70s and drove several farms out of business.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's talk about Lord Hermer, who in my mind is the latest sort of target, shall we say, for dismissal from the cabinet, because he's the new Attorney General, relatively new. He's definitely a detriment to the country. He seems to like representing people like Shamima Begum, Jerry Adams, some illegal migrants who came in from the Chagos Islands. He's helped the Caribbean countries to have conversations about what reparations they can get out of Britain. He doesn't seem to like Britain very much. And he's already admitted that he's had to recuse himself from several conversations with the government because of a conflict of interest when they ask him for his advice. I mean, you know, he's another one of Starmer's cronies, basically, the man who said cronyism was going to be ended under Labour. What's the point of him?
And in fact, he said even more than that wonderful list that you produced, Mike, because he also said that he thought that borders are immoral. Borders are wrong. We should allow free movement of people anywhere they like. If they're criminals and they want to come to the UK, well, so be it, because borders are morally wrong. And Lord Glassman, who is also a Labour peer, I mean, he said the trouble with Hermer is that he thinks the law in all its theory is more important than practical politics and what people want and the safety of British people. You know, I hate it, you know, when you get broadcasters and media people coming up with cliches, and it's a cliche that Keir Starmer is a sort of North London lawyer, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
This is why he chooses people like Lord Hermer. I mean, it's absolutely gobsmacking. I mean, I can genuinely say I have never, in all my years, he said, clutching his non-existent lapels because he's not wearing a jacket, I have never known a government to come into office so quickly and be so utterly useless and get it so wrong. It's incredible.
I mean, I've been saying it for months, actually. I can't quite believe how incompetent they are. I thought they would do things that we might not like and that, you know, many people in this country wouldn't agree with, and they would take us down the woke road, which they're now sort of trying to row back from because Donald Trump's in. And I knew that their policies wouldn't be great, but they have been completely...
By the way, and Mike, wasn't it incredible that they appoint Peter Mandelson, of all people,
I know,
who is not only loathed by many sensible people in the United Kingdom, he's utterly loathed by the Republican Party, Trump's own party, in the United States. And you choose that man to represent the United Kingdom's interests in Washington. I am praying, just praying, that the head of state of the United States, namely President Trump, does what any head of state can do, and that is say, on this instance, we refuse to accept this person as the ambassador.
But they haven't done it because apparently yesterday was his first day. His pictures are in the paper today. Actually meeting up with the, I think it's the Defence Secretary or somebody. He's actually now officially the ambassador to the United States, which is pretty appalling.
Well, I know Donald Trump watches Talk TV and Talk Radio and listens to Talk Radio. So my challenge to Donald Trump is to say, right, you've got that power, Don. You should stop him and you should get somebody... Why not have Nigel Farage? Mind you, I think Nigel Farage...
I think Nigel's a bit busy.
In the United
I think he's a bit busy trying to become the next Prime Minister, I think, to be fair, which I think he may well manage to do. What's life like for you, Michael, since you've left the hallowed halls of the Palace of Westminster? What are you up to?
Well, somebody was asking me, actually. Somebody was asking me, what do I miss? And I think I missed two things, actually. One is the companionship of lots of friends at the House of Commons. So, in fact, I'm meeting one of them tonight in the House of Commons. So that's nice. I don't go back too often, but once every 4 months or so, I'll meet up with friends and people like Matt Vickers, who's you've just been interviewing, is a lovely guy. And the other thing I miss is the free parking you get at the House of Commons. That was very convenient.
I bet.
The rest of it, I'm not so sure I miss it that much. And what am I doing? I'm doing a lot more broadcasting, and there's something coming up in the next few months. So you might be seeing a bit more of me.
Excellent. Michael, well, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Michael
I'm lovely to talk to you.
Former Conservative MP. What about that, eh? 94 grand a year, which is a new pay rise, and a free parking. Blimey. I mean, that's worth about another 10 grand a year, I think, isn't it?